This hangout is on the air. Hello, 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 everyone in the YouTube universe. It's Brad from the Big Family Homestead here with Will from the Weekend Homesteader. Homestead. Doggone it. Get it right, Brad. How you doing, Will?
I'm doing good. I own both Don't Name Mains, by the way, so in case you get it mixed up, they both go to the same place.
All right. You are actually on the road, and we are doing this broadcast with you being on the road driving through downtown. Well, tell us about it, because this is crazy cool.
Yeah, so here I'm going to flip the camera quick so you guys can see, but I'm in the car right there. Guess what? I have a co-pilot. The missus is driving. We got Lincoln back there sleeping, and then the boy Cameron back there. We are on our way up to the homestead for the 4th of July weekend. We're actually not staying for the whole weekend. I always take it early because, you know, I'm a pyrotechnician. But we are currently broadcasting at 65 miles an hour down the highway. Downtown Minneapolis, we're heading out through the outside suburbs and stuff. And from time to time, besides talking tech, we'll also cover some of the great things that we see here on the road as we're going. Miles an hour down the highway.
We're getting some kind of weird echo, brother.
I don't know what it is. I got you on the headsets. It says that there's some kind of issue with the stream from your side. I'm not sure what it is.
Imagine that. I mean, what is going on here? Where are we getting this echo from?
Do you want me to kill the headset and see if that changes it?
Just try it. See if that's what's happening.
How about that?
I don't know what's happening, actually.
Odd thing is, it was fine just a minute ago.
I know. What has changed?
Do you have a second window open for the chat, and all of a sudden we're hearing it twice through YouTube and through the Google Hangout?
I got you. Yes, we're hearing it now. I figured it out. You can put your headphone back on.
Okay, cool. Just try to cut down the noise here.
No, you're great, man. Okay, so let's pretend like that did not happen. How are you guys doing? Good evening, everybody. Welcome to we're working it through Tech Talk.
Hey, technology, Tech Talk. Like we're trying to do as much as we possibly can at the height of technology. And think about where we were. We were just talking about this a little bit ago.
Yeah.
Think about where we were 5 years ago, let alone 20 years ago. Right now, I'm broadcasting in high definition from my phone to your computer. You're recalibrating it, uploading it to a server, and then people are downloading it live all over the world.
That is amazing. And you know what? You hear the statistics all the time, but like, you know, the power of the first generation iPhone had more computing power than the entire NASA team to get them to the moon. And that's just insane to me that you can carry that kind of power around in your pocket. And it used to be that it was what Murphy's law of computing is that it doubled every 18 months. It's got to be more than that now.
Yeah, Moore's law was always in, what was it, 18 months or something like that. The computing power would double and the cost of it would go in half. I think that's what it is. Maybe it's 12 months, every 12 months or something like that. But it's Moore's law. So the price would drop in half and the speed would double.
Yeah, and you know what? It's crazy because being in a band, we had to deal with samplers, which are basically they record anything you can, you know, put a microphone in front of, and then you can play it back on a keyboard at different, you know, pitches. And so they used a lot of memory, and it was basically a computer that was designed to spit audio back out, and you use with a keyboard. I have here at my house somewhere, but it's probably packed now. I have a $400 chip that was a RAM chip that was 1 megabyte.
Yeah, that's I actually was doing the same thing. I can't remember, we were talking like 2 weeks ago or something about cleaning up some technology and stuff, and I was digging through some boxes and I found an old hard drive in my office that was 250 megabyte hard drive.
Yes. You've got some serious storage power. Okay, well, let's you know, as you're cruising down the road, and if you see something that is noteworthy, we can flip around and they can see what you're seeing. But tonight, guys, we wanted to talk a little bit about some different security options for your house, your homestead, your farm, wherever it is. This is Tech Talk, but I think tonight is going to be a lot more accessible to a lot more people. And one of the things that we wanted to talk about is security. So stuff like Wi-Fi cameras are now not just cutting edge, it's kind of the norm. And they've come down in price, and we were going to talk a little bit about that. So Will, take us there with Wi-Fi cameras.
Sure. Probably one of the biggest topics that people ask me about on their properties and everything else is basically, if I'm not at my property, how do I keep track of what's going on at my property? And there were all sorts of systems. 2-3 years ago, these systems used to be $1,000. Now, all of a sudden, the price has dropped as camera technology has gotten better, the internet's gotten better, all sorts of things have gotten better, and now all of a sudden people can use Wi-Fi in their home for their camera systems and so on. And a lot of people ask, hey, I have chickens in my barn that I want to see what's going on with them, or it's really hard for me to leave my farm because I don't have a way to check. Well, now with some of the latest technologies that come out there and the price point that these are hitting, it's really affordable for people to get into it. And we're going to talk about 3 systems tonight that I think are pretty good. And Brad, let me know, did you put those in the description?
I did, and I actually added a couple things to it. So jump right in, and I guess let's start with the Swan security system. You like that one?
Yeah. So actually, that's one of the ones that we use at the homestead, because the biggest thing that I want to see is I want to see what's going on at the property. Like, as all of you know, we've had a lot of storms come through the property on a regular basis. We've had limbs down, trees, flooding. We've just had a struggle with weather in the last 40 days. Out of 40 days, 35 of them it's rained. So we are having a lot of trouble there. With the camera system, I can log in anytime from anywhere on my cell phone and look at 4 different cameras on the system. So the system I put in there is a wired system. Basically, there's different types of camera systems you'll see in the market. You'll see standalone, which will be one of the ones we'll talk about, a wireless system, and a wired system. And what I'm talking about is the cameras themselves. So the Swan system, which is $199, is the one that I'm recommending. And by the way, I don't work for Swan or anything like that. I don't work for any of these camera companies. I've just, over the years of living this remote lifestyle where we live in the city and we go up to our place, I have to have an ability to see what's going on up there. So as long as you have an internet connection, you can put this system in place. It's $199. It comes with 4 cameras. You just run the wires all back to the box. The power and everything runs through the wire to the camera, so you don't have to plug them in or anything like that. They're all powered by the wire that runs to them. And then this box connects to the internet, and you can log in remotely, or you can log in on your television. You can log in anywhere and basically see these cameras live. That's the best part about it, is it's live. The other thing is let's say something happens and you want to go back and review it. It has the ability to have what's called a DVR, or a digital video recorder, built in, and it records up to 30 days worth of video on those 4 cameras on the device. So like, we had an issue where a bunch of bird feeders got knocked over at the cabin. I didn't see it happen live on the camera. I went back to the day when we thought it happened and looked, and sure enough, we saw a bear go over and just grab the thing and just bend it down to the ground. And we knew exactly what happened with it. So it's a good way to get peace of mind at your property. But the big thing is you can look at 4 different things at one time on there for that one price, which means you could have one pointed at the barn. You could have one that runs out underground. You can get extensions that'll go 300 feet, so you can put the camera out on a pole in the middle of a field. Indoor, outdoor, however you want to set it up. It's one of the most versatile systems, and it's super easy to set up. Basically, plug it in, run the wires, plug it into the internet, press a couple buttons on the app. I like super easy. That's why I recommend the Swan system.
Nice. Now, as you were talking, I just had this crazy idea that I don't know if it's a thing that you can do with any of the systems yet, but I wonder if you could hook it in a way where you could stream your video live to YouTube to share with people. Like, I know that 50 Ducks in a Hot Tub, they have some system where it's running their ducks the whole time. So do you know of any of these systems that work like that, so that it would be kind of a fun thing, to show people, hey, this is really what's going on at the farm real time?
Yep. So the 2 systems that the first 2 that I was going to talk about would not do that. The third camera would do that, but in all reality, you could actually just buy a cheap webcam, and I believe that's how he does it. Is he just has a computer near where the ducks are and a little webcam hooked up, and then that webcam, just like we would have OBS running with a video source, that's exactly how he's doing it. Most of these systems, like the Arlo and the Swan system, so the Netgear Arlo, which is the other one that I was going to talk about a little bit, and the Swan system, those two systems are what are called a closed security system. By the way, I've got a buddy back here photobombing us. But the Arlo and the Schwann system are a closed security system, which means that it produces a VPN between the app and the device so that you can only see that information, and it secures the line, because that's one of the biggest things about these cameras. And we'll say this at the end, and I'll talk a little bit about it, is when you set these up, you want to make sure that they're set up secure, because if you don't, there's a website right now that you can go to. I think it's called wificamera.com or something like that. You have to search for it online, but it goes and searches the internet, finds all the webcams that are on and operating, and just broadcasts them out onto the internet, and it'll show you where they are. So like in the Twin Cities, I looked one day, there were 63 cameras that I could go look at randomly at any time that people didn't have them secure. So
what was the name of that site, just out of curiosity?
It's like, I don't want to give the name, because if I give it wrong, people could go to something very bad, because there's a lot of other webcam sites out there.
Gotcha.
I'll see if I can look it up, and I'll email it to you after the show. I should have wrote it down in my notes. I forgot I was going to talk about that part. But
that's crazy. And what a security breach. It's just like an open door. How can you prevent that from happening? What you're saying is doing the secured setup.
So that's why I bring up the Arlo and I bring up the Schwann system. Both of those are secure camera setups. And let's talk about the Arlo for a second. It's a product from Netgear. The issue with the Arlo is it's much, much more expensive per camera, but it gives you the benefit of Wi-Fi. So what it does is, instead of having a camera with a wire going back to a box, instead Arlo doesn't even have a box. Arlo's basically all plug into the wall, and then this camera has everything built into it. And then just like, remember how we talked about Google, where all the hotspots all kind of connect to each other and talk to each other?
Yep. Mm-hmm.
All the cameras connect to each other and talk to each other. So it's a system where if you don't have the ability to do wires, or if you live in an apartment or a townhome where you can't run wires in the walls or outside or anything like that, it gives you the same benefits, features, and options that the Schwann system does, but it does it wirelessly. The challenge is the Arlo system, I think, for 2 cameras is $199. So the price is a lot higher than the average system. But again, it's secure, just like the Schwann system is.
Well, now here's the thing. About 3 years ago, I got one of those Simply Safe home security rigs. And it's really cool because you just have the little sensors. There's different kinds of sensors. They have the glass break sensor, the motion detectors. They just recently added HD video. And it took us all of about 15 minutes to set all of the sensors up on all the different areas, because all it is peel and stick. It's that 3M material. You put it right on your doors, you put it right on your windows, and it talks to the home base wirelessly. And the home base is basically a cell phone that sends data to Simply Safe. You can log on your smartphone and watch what's going on in your, with a camera or a computer. You can log on any which way. But what I really like about that one is that there's no contract. It's not like one of the old school, security systems where they're going to be like, yeah, we're going to need to lock you in at, $200 for the next 5 years. It's pay as you go, or you don't pay if you don't want to for a certain month or whatever. And I want to say we pay $15. It's so cheap.
That is pretty cheap. Yeah, the thing about the systems that I'm talking about tonight, again, that's a good point to bring up too. There's no contracts to sign. There's no monthly service charges. When you buy the device, it comes with the app for free. It comes with tech support for free. The Schwann system's even cool, where you can call a tech support person and a real person picks up the phone and goes through and they'll answer any questions like, hey, I'm trying to run this wire, or hey, I want to figure out how to hook this up, or how do I get connected to the internet? And the tech support person will hop on, and they're really easy to understand. It's an American-based company, and it's a product that I've really come to like. I put the Arlo on the list because some people can't do wired, so wireless is the way to go. Can we switch to the last one now, and I'll kind of talk about.
Hold on one second, because I really want to ask another question, because this is really cool tech, and I'm sure that it'd be great, but it doesn't seem like very much of a deterrent. Is there any way that, I would imagine that you can have it set up alerts for different situations. Like you could probably be alerted if there's motion inside the house and the house is locked up, stuff like that. But I was just sitting here thinking, is there any way that they could put a a powered speaker or something, so you could literally tell that guy, hey, I see you, get out of the house now, the cops are on the way.
Yep, some of them have that where you can hook into a simple security system, or you can hook into, you know, there's a lot of different options on that stuff. I know the Schwann system doesn't have that. Theirs is low price because of the main fact that you can have the ability to
Record it.
you know, just record it and everything like that. So the pluses and minuses are like the Schwann system, you can record it. It's really secure because it's wired. The picture's always perfect because you don't have to worry about wireless interference or anything like that. The app always works. It's bulletproof. On the flip side, the Arlo is wireless, and it actually talks to other home networking devices. The camera detects light, or detects motion. It turns on a light in the house, and you have to buy a little module to do that. The wireless systems are really cool because they're really flexible because you can plug other things into it, like speakers or interfaces, or have it turn on so it records DVR, all those types of things. It's just more expensive, that's all.
Right. Well, let's jump on down to your last pick on the list. Because I'm digging this, man. I'm thinking that it can be a deterrent, because the thing is this, I mean, to have a security system and you can see somebody, yeah, the chances are good that you could probably catch them if they, you know, get caught on video well and you hand it over to the authorities. But I'd rather just not have them smash and take and break and do all that stuff if there's a way to deter it. And, you know, it only cost me a little bit more. That sounds a lot more attractive to me. But continue on and let's talk about the last one that you have on your list there.
Yep. So the last one is focused specifically towards the person who just wants to solve a very simple problem, which is, I want to see what's going on in my barn. I want to see what's going on in my backyard. I want to see what's going on in my shed, or I'm at the office and I want to check on the chickens when I'm in the office or something like that. And you just want a camera and you want it out in a remote location. Well, for $59.99, there's a no frills camera. The manual is not really that great. The app is really, it's just okay, but it's $59.99. It's a price point play. It allows you to get an HD camera that works perfectly. Like right now, I could press a button on my phone and look at the camera that I have at the house. It's really simple. You take it out of the box, you plug it in the wall, you screw it to a mount wherever you want to mount it, and then the app asks you a couple questions about your Wi-Fi network and security stuff. It talks wirelessly back to your Wi-Fi, and you're connected. I've had this camera up to about 75 feet away from the house, and it just works. It works great to solve that problem where you just want to see what's going on in the barn, or you just want to check in on your house when you're gone, or whatever it is. There's no security features, there's no frills, but it's not over $100. It's not even $80. It's $59.99, and I've actually seen it as low as $39.99 on Amazon. It's a HD wireless camera. I will say this though, you have to turn the security on the camera. The camera comes with the security turned off. When you set it up, you need to turn the security camera settings on. Otherwise, when somebody scans for that camera, they could find it and view whatever you're viewing. Now, granted, if somebody wants to look at my chickens online, do I really care? It's not like I have it pointed at a safe in Fort Knox where I have a whole bunch of money, you know, stashed or something like that. It's to solve a utility purpose, which a lot of people are trying to do on a budget. They don't have hundreds of dollars to spend on this stuff. To have something that's, you know, $39 to $59 that serves one purpose and use, it covers for a lot of people out there. Wow.
And just to let you guys know, if you're interested in any of the stuff that we're talking about tonight, there are links down below in the description. However, we get off on rabbit trails from time to time, and you just said something that spurred me to ask you a question about internet security, because you're in it. You're in the thick of it every day. Let's talk about passwords. What are good passwords? Are there bad passwords? Here's a bigger question. Do they even matter anymore? What about security breaches? Do your passwords really actually save your bacon? Let's talk a little bit about passwords.
All right, let's do a trade for a second. I do not have access to the chat. Can you check to see if anybody has any questions on cameras or anything like that? Or if you have questions on any of the cameras, post them in the chat now. I'll answer Brad's question, and then when we're done, Brad, let's go back, answer everybody's question, and then we'll spin on to the next topic. Fair?
Okay, so far so good. I don't see it. People are just saying that they have cameras so far.
Gotcha. All right, so let's talk about passwords for a second. The best password, in my opinion, to get, and a lot of services are offering it now, is what's called two-part verification. So to give you an example, when I log into my bank account remotely, Sometimes it'll send me a text message on my phone saying, hey, are you logging into your bank account remotely? Yes, I am. I have 2 ways to verify. Not only am I putting the password into my bank account, but then it's sending me a code via the text message to verify a second way to make sure I'm good to go. YouTube and Google have been using third-party or 2-party verification. So what that is it's usually a password and then using your phone number for a text or sending you an email or sending you something, a second way to kind of get that information. So that's the best way to go. Now let's talk about passwords for a second. Passwords, I always recommend having a symbol, a character, you know, uppercase, lowercase letters, something that's not easy to remember. Somebody told me at one point in time, the way they pick their password is they randomly pick a symbol, they randomly pick a letter, and then they take a pair of dice and they roll them and they pick a couple numbers with the dice. So they're completely random, and then that's how they make their passwords. And what they'll do is they'll use the first part of the password the same, like, you know, $, capital BRAD, you know, and then a couple numbers, and then they'll put Yahoo in it, and then so on. And then for Google, they'll put Google in it, or YouTube, or whatever it is, and they change it for the service that they're in. So if their password's ever compromised, it's not compromised for all their services. Different.
Can you for a symbol, can you use a blank space?
Some password companies will allow you to use underscores, but they won't allow you to use blank spaces. Most of them will not let you put blank spaces in there. Now, there are password companies that do what are called 2-party verification, where they use phrases and symbols and things like that. Like, I know one bank, I think it's Wells Fargo, you put in your password and then it takes you to a page and you have to pick a picture and you have to click on a symbol or something like that. And then,
they make you do some yoga.
It's usually the hokey pokey.
So, you know, what's kind of funny is for me, for a while there, I was actually looking at a QWERTY keyboard, and I would make symbols that made sense. Like I would be drawing something on the keyboard that actually made no sense if you looked at the letters and numbers, but they were a symbol, like some kind of picture. And that's been working. But now the question I'm having is, you know, are there actually people that just go and crack these things, or do they guess at it, or do they just let, you know, I mean, when somebody gets, let's say that a bank gets compromised, what happens? I mean, because you got a password to get in there. I mean, when they say the bank is hacked, what does that mean?
Well, let's go a different direction first to answer the most common way that a person loses their password and gets their account compromised is what's called a phishing email, PHISING email. And what it is basically it's an email that is sent out to somebody to make it look like Wells Fargo or US Bank or the IRS or whatever it is. And they say, hey, Brad, this is Wells Fargo, and we need you to log in your account because you have a security breach. And you freak out and you go, holy cow. Oh, wait, they got a link right here I can log in with. You click on that link, and instead of taking you to Wells Fargo, they take you to a website that looks like Wells Fargo. You punch in your username and password, and then they direct you back to the Wells Fargo page and say, oh, there's some type of error. Then you actually log into the real Wells Fargo, thinking that, oh, when I entered it the first time, there was a mistake. Now I entered a second time on the real website. Well, here's what happened. On that first website you went to that wasn't Wells Fargo, you just typed in your username and your password perfectly. And then when you hit OK, they just pointed you somewhere else and you went to another website or whatever it is. And you thought, oh, there's just a glitch. But in that process, they just capture your information. That's the #1 way that people lose their passwords is people get, oh, here's an email to PayPal or here's an email from YouTube saying your account's being compromised. What I do is when I get an email like that, I open up a browser window, I type in the URL to that website, and I log into my account that way, not using the links in the email. Because of that very specific reason that people send emails out to get information, and then you just give up your password to them, and that's how they get them.
Well, and there's another thing that's been going on lately. I sometimes read Glenn Beck website that he's got, that conservative thing called The Blaze. But every once in a while, I'll be on that site, and all of a sudden, it'll go to a blue screen, and then it'll be like a robot voice saying that my system's been hijacked and blah, blah, blah. And all I do is Control-Alt-Delete and shut it down, and it goes away. But that's probably the same kind of thing. They're trying to get you to type in your information. so they can, you know, grab some money from you, when in reality, if you click it, you're giving them the open door, right? That's what I'm hearing.
Right, exactly. And that's the thing. So their whole goal is to catch you off guard, put you in a panic so you're not thinking clearly, and then you just fall right into their trap, which is they just want you to give their information. So imagine if you're on the website or whatever, and all of a sudden you get the blue screen that says, we're taking over your computer, click here to stop it or whatever. And I go, oh, okay. And you click it and then you punch in some information or whatever it is. And then all of a sudden now you've given them access to your machine. So that's why I tell people, you know, if the IRS, you know, the IRS is not going to call you. I think we talked about this one before. They're not going to send you an email. They will physically mail you a letter. Same thing with your bank. You know, your bank may send you a notification or something like that, but usually they send something through the mail if there's been an issue or something with your account. It's very rare that I've ever gotten an email from my bank that says that they need to get a hold of me. And then if they do, they don't put a link in there for me to click on. I have to go to US Bank or Wells Fargo or Bank of America or whoever you use and punch in your information. So that's my only commentary regarding passwords, is the way you lose your password is by not thinking clearly, doing something silly, and then all of a sudden you run into the complication that you do.
Yeah. So, okay, well, there have not been any new password or camera questions. So let's move on a little bit. I think this next topic is going to be something for everybody, or at least most of the folks out there. Doesn't matter if you're a homesteader or a prepper. Everybody could use a little bit of extra income. And, you know, my family, Christa and I, we make soap. Sometimes we sell honey if we've got it. We make different kinds of, you know, knitted things and all kinds of different homesteady products. And so I wanted to just kind of take a few moments to go through the basics of a web store, an internet store, a way that you guys can, you know, market your products. And there's a bunch of different ways. There's tons of ways that we won't be able to probably hit them all tonight, but let's talk about the basics of getting your stuff online so you can sell it. And so with that, let's go.
What was the question?
Getting started in selling online.
I knew what the topic was. I couldn't remember what the question was. No, let's talk about that. So a couple weeks ago, we talked about starting your own website, why you'd start a website or a Facebook page or, you know, do those types of things. Tonight's topic is the biggest one is, okay, now I want to sell my stuff. How do I do that? How do I make a shopping cart? How do I make a store? You know, one way to do it is you can go on Amazon. You can post your products on Amazon, and then they allow you to make little links and buttons and things like that. And then that would basically be a way that you can start a page. But there's a lot of cool services with WordPress and Wix. And actually, the service that I really like that I want to talk about tonight is Shopify, which is probably the easiest way to start a shopping cart. And these guys are wicked smart in the sense that they have a setup where you can plug into your current website with their stuff, and it all makes it look like it works together. Or if you don't have a website, you can build the website, and then on top of it, plug into a Facebook page or anything else by just clicking a couple buttons. You don't have to know how to do this stuff. If you know how to answer questions and you have your images and a little bit of text and what you want to charge for the product, these guys can take your credit card number for you. They can take PayPal. They can link into your Facebook. You can run promos. It even gives you a report at the end of the day of here's everything you sold and the address and the phone numbers and the contact stuff, so you can easily print the labels, so you can print it out and send it to the people, and it's inexpensive. That's the best part about it.
Well, I'll tell you what, what you're describing sounds identical to what we have. And we went the Wix route, the WIX. Yep. And I got to tell you what, the way that they do their analytics, when you get, you know, you can open it up on your phone or your tablet or whatever, and it shows you exactly where you're at down to, because we sell the soap online. So it'll be like, you know, you can make notifications that you got a sale. You can send out coupons like, hey, that we got a really great deal. You know, we're going to do, you know, X amount of bars for X amount today only or whatever. And it was cheap. I want to say, I can't remember exactly, but I want to say it was less than $50, and it was for the whole year. And I love that these things are getting, you know, cheaper, because actually I don't know if he's still here in the chat, but I saw that BC Truck was on earlier. And if you are, Brad, he makes knives, and his knives are amazing. And I've been trying to encourage him to get out there into the store market kind of thing, where he can say, look, you know, here's this knife. It's $300, $400, whatever it is. But he makes art with these things. And I'm just seeing a lot of these names going through the chat, and I'm going, yes, this one does that. I know what this one, she makes. Oh yeah, she makes great blah, blah, blah. Oh, this one does all this. And I would really love for you guys to be able to make a little extra cash. So now Coco Noel is asking, would you recommend Shopify over Etsy?
So Etsy is a marketplace. So think of Etsy as a place where people can shop and browse through a lot of different things. Etsy's almost a social network on top of a way to sell products. Shopify is you're plugging their system in, and same thing with Wix. You're plugging their system into your existing website or into your existing Facebook page and so on, and you're selling things for people that are actually already coming to you. So if you had an apple orchard, or if you had,
and he's gone with the wind, guys. Okay, oh, he's back.
Sorry, so someone was calling me. I thought I had it on airplane mode, but I guess not. So Shopify plugs into your existing systems versus Etsy, where you can browse somebody's Etsy store and then you can browse somebody else's Etsy store. And it's kind of like, think of it as like a mall full of people who are all selling, or a flea market where they're all lined up next to each other, and you can shop each individual one, or you can shop a whole bunch of them in a group. You can search and things like that. Versus Shopify, where Shopify is really all about, let's say you had appleorchard.com and you wanted to sell honey and apples and whatever on your website and some crafts that you made, you could easily pop those items into the Shopify or the Wix store, and then that plugs right into your website, and it makes it look like it was all built together all as one. Or let's say you have a whole bunch of people on Facebook, you can just have it on your Facebook page. Like Brad, you have the Big Family Homestead group. You could plug in the Wix plugin or the Shopify plugin into that group, and then people can safely and securely buy stuff. Because that's the most important thing about it is, I've seen people kind of hack together stores and do different ideas and things like that. You want people, when they come to buy your goods, to do it in a safe, a clean, smooth environment. If they have to do something weird in the process of checking out or whatever, they're going to stop. They're not going to buy, because what will happen is, imagine if you picked up an item inside of a store and you walked up to the cash register, the person behind the cash register looked really super shady, and the whole checkout process looked kind of weird, and they asked you for some cash, but then they gave you some other thing back, and there was all sorts of weird stuff. You probably wouldn't shop at that store. You got to think of your website and your web store as the same thing. You want a person to be able to grab the item out of your store, go right to the checkout, go through 1 or 2 easy steps to get checked out, and walk away with the goods. If they have to do 7 things to check out, they'll probably abandon the cart, walk away, and leave. And then you lost that sale. So that, not to take a long story short, but Etsy's a great resource, but I think Etsy's a good resource if you want to be part of a group. Let's say you knit things, or you do leather work or things like that. You'll be with other people that do that kind of stuff. So when somebody's looking for that, they can easily find it. Versus Shopify, where you're pushing your brand, your products, and your marketplace. That's what that's really about.
See, you know, the way I look at all of those things, shopping carts, and it used to be not too terribly long ago that it was a big mystery, and you had to find just the right people or just the right plugin for your WordPress site, and it was just confusing. And it is not now anymore. There's a lot of tools. There's a lot of different sites that will allow you to make that streamlined. But what I would say about it is, just think about the way that you want to be dealt with on, you know, if you're going to buy something, you want it to be very clear and understandable. You want to be able to see exactly what's going on in the process. I especially like it when they give you like the little numbers to say you're in 1, 2, 3 steps, so that you can see, okay, I've put my items in the cart. Do you want to go to the cart? Click the cart. Okay, now I see the steps that I have. But just think about it. If it's hard to do, they're going to walk away. It's that simple. I would walk away. So when you're looking for something to sell, just keep that in mind, that there's a lot of, you know, there's a lot of plugins now that do a good job. There's a lot of websites that integrate well, and it's not a mystery anymore. So with that, I'm going to look and see if we got any questions here.
Let me throw this too. I mean, that's the one thing that Amazon does. And if you've ever shopped on Amazon, which I know a lot of people have, Amazon's very simple. You pick the item, you put it in your cart. If your account is already set up, you can have it where it's one click, where you just click and it already does a checkout process for you, because they know the faster that they can get you to close that shopping cart transaction with the fewest amount of steps, the higher the likelihood of you'll be able to close and buy that product. So that's the same thing that you have to look at when you're looking at these services. There's some really inexpensive shopping cart services, but their service isn't good, or they charge huge amounts of fees on the credit cards, or, you know, there's a myriad of different ways that you can get, you know, shorted in the scenario. And what you want to find is a reputable company. Wix, Shopify. Those are two that are very, very good. One other one, and Brad, you and I were talking about before the show, is the Square card reader. So let's say you do flea markets, you do all that kind of stuff, and you actually have face-to-face, like a little shop set up, or you have a little stand set up at your homestead where people are coming in buying things, or, you know, you're selling your chickens, or you're selling produce, or you're doing a CSA or any of that stuff. There's this little plug-in that can plug into your phone or plug into your tablet, or it can actually even be wireless, where you just swipe your credit card on it and it does a little transaction. You sign the thing on your screen and you're good to go. And they're cheap. I mean, I think some of them, if you sign up for a service for a year, you can get the card reader for free, which is like $100 value. And then all you do is build like if you bought it anywhere else, and you can do it anywhere as long as you have a Wi-Fi or cellular phone connection, which is the best part about it. So some of these folks that have remote properties can do it.
Yeah, we bought one from Walmart, believe it or not. It was $20, and I believe the percentage that they take is very low. I think it's like 2.5 or 3%. The 3% would be high. I think it's 2.5. But how easy is that, especially if you're out? I mean, just the other day, okay, we have a Rural King store here, which is great, and I love Rural King. And someday, the Rural King, you need to sponsor the Big Family Homestead, because we're there all the time and we love your stuff. Oh man, I know it's a total rabbit trail, but they have free popcorn, man. Free popcorn, and it's warm all the time. They've got free coffee. Huh?
Free popcorn and coffee?
Yeah, straight up. And some of them have peanuts, where they'll give you like a little cup of peanuts and you throw the shells on the ground. Isn't that crazy awesome? Oh
boy. We have a place called L&M, and they have donuts and coffee on Sunday mornings when you come in. Like if you come in after church or whatever it is, you can grab a donut and you can get it and walk to the store with that. So L&M actually is the same buying group as Rural King, but that's a whole other story we could get into.
Right. Well, here's my point though. Going back to the card reader thing, I was at Rural King and I was just checking out, and there were these two ladies that were standing by the door, and they were raising money for a homeless project that was going on in our town. And I honestly, truthfully, did not have any money in my wallet, and I wanted to give them something, but I didn't have the means. Now, those card reader things, they're cheap, they work, and I would have given them $5 had they had something like that. I would not have hesitated to help out. But I think more and more, whether you feel it's good or bad, we're moving toward a cashless society. I personally think it's bad. But that's the direction we're going in. And so if you sell stuff, or you have, you know, if you make things, it's definitely worth the money to not miss out on sales.
Yeah, no, it's an easy way to do it. And people are used to using it. They're trusting it. You know, you remember the old machines where you used to put your credit card in and you go back and forth, and then you write all the number stuff on there and stuff like that. And like, what happens if that slip gets stolen? Or what happens if that guy throws them in an envelope and then his buddy's over and he copies out some of the credit card numbers? With those little card swiper things or the checkout on the online stuff, it makes it super, super easy. And people trust it then, and then they're more likely to buy from you if they trust you.
Absolutely. You know, and it's kind of funny because I used to work for a company that I'm not going to name, because their practice of handling these things probably was illegal. But we would, you know, go to an event, and there would be different numbers of like 10, 20 different stations where people would buy this product from. And they had those card swipers, the machines. And I kid you not, there were thousands of them every time we did a show. It just stuck the receipts in a box, and those boxes were kept in their warehouse, which had access to anybody. And a lot of the guys that worked in the warehouse, and I'm not knocking anybody, but they were, you know, former criminals or did stuff like that. And this company was probably, honestly, criminally negligent when it comes to those receipts. So always be careful about where you give your information. Oh, and here's another thing. Here's a rabbit trail for you. Because of that company, don't ever give out your information when people ask you for your phone number to make a transaction happen, or your name or your address, because a lot of those people are under the impression that their company tells them that they don't sell that data. Well, that is one way of saying it, but the truth is all that data goes somewhere, and usually it gets traded, bought, or sold. And the more and more and more that they do that, you'll just start getting stuff in the mail where it's like, wait a minute, I didn't order anything from Field and Stream. Why am I getting a Field and Stream magazine? But the more data they have on you, it just gets creepy. It's like, you know, you're in what's that movie with Tom Cruise where they would had pre-crime, Minority Report, yeah. And but trust me, they do sell that information. And when I'm confronted when they say, you know, I need a phone number to make this transaction happen, I just say my phone number is cash, and I pay with cash. And you don't have to be mean to them because they're being told to get that information. But the reality is I want them to know the least amount about me. If I want to go buy something, I want to go buy it. I want it to be done. I don't want Big Brother looking over my shoulder every moment of the day. And I know it's probably nearly impossible with the way that we use Google and everything. But I guess I'll be one of those fellas that's going to push back till you can't push back anymore.
So I had to switch the camera here to the outside mode just because, look at this. We're in the middle of nowhere and we're still doing a live stream. Isn't that weird? Like crazy technology. Just here we are. We're on the road.
That's awesome. Garden Devotion says, when I used to go to teacher conferences to sell my products, I had to have the zip code. The credit card companies made me get that. I'm not saying from the seller standpoint. I'm saying like when you're asking a customer what their name is or their zip code or their blah 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 blah. I just say no. I don't give out personal information. And I'm nice about it, but we need to push back on stuff like that. There's way too much intrusion. And I mean, you don't have to be nasty. You can just be like, you know, I just don't give out personal information. I've actually had people push back and say, well, then I can't do the transaction. And then you just say, well, you know, I hear what you have to say, and I need to talk to your supervisor then, because I'd really like to make this transaction, but I don't feel like you need all my personal information to take my cash. And so for me, it's one of those sticky points because I've seen what they do with this data. Even though that the employees are told they don't sell it, they don't use it, they do.
I'll tell you this. There's two items that I definitely, well, if somebody asks you for your zip code when you're using your credit card, you definitely want to give that one out. And here's the reason why, is a lot of credit card companies now are doing two-card verification. So when they swipe your card, they'll ask you the zip code or the billing address as a way to make sure that it's really you. Because if somebody stole your card, they're nowhere in your card does it say what your zip code is for your billing address. So if they don't get that information when they punch it into the register, they decline your card. So just an interesting point is credit card companies are starting to use that two-part verification in the sense of that. The other thing is, and I don't know if this is good or not, but I have an old landline, and when people ask me for my phone number, I give it that one because it doesn't go anywhere. There's no voicemail or anything on it. It just rings and rings, but we never use it because it's only for outgoing calls. So I just take an old landline number that we have and I give it to that. So whoever has that landline number is getting all my junk mail calls.
Well, you know, and that's another thing, you know, the call list, the do not call list. It seems like for whatever reason, every 6 months, I have to reinitiate that do not call list. Because I tell you what, I get 5 calls a day, and I can tell because like my hearing is pretty good, and I can tell when you answer the phone and you say hello, and you're quiet, you'll hear a click, and what it's doing is it's telling a machine to let the person or the robot know that you're on the line. So if you make another noise after that, then they'll say, "Hi, is this Brad?" Blah blah blah. But if you're just quiet, it doesn't hear it. And it waits.
All right, I got a topic for you that we should
talk
brother,
about, which is actually
super cool.
Cornhole?
No, it's super cool.
Oh, okay, cool.
What?
Dude, let me just
right,
tell you what. No, this is the Scout's honor truth. We lived in Florida before we moved to Ohio, and we got up here and swear to the Lord, this is not. I'm not trying to be weird or anything, but they don't have cornhole in Florida at all. And so I got up here and we're, hanging around some friends and family kind of stuff. And they're like, "Hey, do you want to play cornhole?" And I was like, "What? What are you talking about?" And they're like, "Yeah, cornhole." And I thought, "Oh my gosh, what in the heck have I got myself into?" And then I finally figured out it was their beanbag game. But yeah, cornhole for a lot of people that are south of the Mason-Dixon line, don't ask them to play cornhole. Just don't.
Alrighty. Following that up, here we go. So
there you go.
Here's the question, people in the comments. Do you want to see this or do you want to see beautiful countryside of Wisconsin? Your choice. Let me know.
Me? I'll let them know. Baker Mom's asking what cornhole is. Cornhole is a game that you got like bean bags and you throw it into a board that's slanted on the ground and there's a hole and there's a series of points to win. It's kind of like, I guess you would say, a slightly different version of like horseshoes, but you got different equipment. So, okay, is anybody else asking? I think they like the.
All right, here we go.
I think they like the scenery, bro.
All right, so we're gonna do the scenery for this next one because you really don't need to look at me for this one. Something's coming up on July 11th. So last year, Amazon did a special promotion called Amazon Days. And basically, it's called Prime Days. And during that period of time, they had 175% increase by the hour on their website of purchasing. It ran for 24 hours, and it was a big promotional period where they basically had Black Friday level specials on Amazon. And I know we talk about a lot of technology. I know we talk about a lot of different gadgets and things like that. And people are like, this stuff is expensive, different things like that. During that time period, if you remember, we talked, this is probably on one of our first shows, we talked about those little portable battery packs to charge like your phone and stuff and everything like that.
Yep.
Amazon had one of these at $39.99 was the regular price. I picked one up for $9.99 with free shipping during Prime Day. So
nice.
They have ridiculous sales. And the reason why I bring it up is two things. One is if you're thinking about buying goods, Prime Day has been announced for July 11th, so you can put your favorite things in the cart, and then if they go on special, they'll show up on that Prime Day thing for whatever period of time when it's going on, and you can buy them for the things that you wanted. Hopefully you can get them at a discount, especially some of the things we talk about on the show here. But the second item is, if you have an affiliate program that you're currently doing with your YouTube channel or your Facebook page or anything like that, it'd probably be a good idea to remind people about Prime Day and give them a link to your affiliate program. Like Brad has one, and I think we have it for Big Family Homestead. If you want to support the Big Family Homestead or any of the things we do on Tech Talk and things like that, you can just shop on Amazon using the link that Brad provides, and Brad gets a little commission. You still get the deal and everything like that. But with all the attention of people going to Amazon to purchase for those 24 hours, guess what? It's an easy way for you, hold on a second here, sorry, my phone is beeping. It's an easy way for you to show a benefit to your community by telling them about this great thing called Prime Days. They get some great discounts and they support your channel, your website, your homestead, whatever it is. So as a consumer, you get great great discounts. As a YouTuber or whatever, you can potentially also, get additional revenue.
I love it. And there's actually another website that I found today. It's along the same lines, but I mean, not to take away from Amazon, but I found a website that does like discount. They refer, deals from other companies to you, and it's called Slickdeals.net. And I was just scrolling through these things today. I'm like, holy smokes, brand new, like really nice Nike shoes for like $35, brand new stuff. Like the Rogue One movie, it's like $8. Really,
you want to hear something really cool about Slickdeals?
Tell me.
So I work with Slickdeals on one of the projects that we work on, and one of the interesting things that Slickdeals has is they have a policy where the companies that are advertising their products on Slickdeals cannot artificially drive traffic, promote, or anything. Organic, and it has to be a deal that's driven by itself. And if you're driving traffic to Slickdeals, from your site or from some other way or some trickery or whatever it is, Slickdeals system is smart enough to catch that, and it'll drop the product off of there. They're all legitimate, organic promotions, and that's why the deals are so hot, is because people have to make the deals hot because they have to rise shopping.
Dude,
they don't let you do it.
No, I agree. And actually, I'm looking at one of their promotions right now. There's a actual, standing drills, the kind of drill that's on a stand, and it's a press. WEN 8-inch 5-press drill. It's only $50, brand new. This thing would easily be $200 at anywhere else. I'm looking at all these kind of crazy things. There's phones and printers and shoes, and like the brand new Star Trek movie, $8 on Blu-ray. There's a ton of stuff, and what I'm seeing is that you can set it up where you have alerts, and so it'll tell you, because I build my own computers, right, instead of buying them. So finding parts that are really, really good are it sometimes gets a little pricey if you're not really watching what you're doing. And I'm sitting here looking at, they've got a lot of power supplies and cases. Like, here's a 450 watt power supply for $20. So
how does the alert work? Do you just pick like the alert that you want then, and it just tells you, hey, I'm looking for microphones, and when microphones come up on Slickdeals, they just tell you that?
Correct. And it can send it to your email or your phone. So that way, because I'm looking right here, honestly, there's a Fender guitar, brand new Fender acoustic guitar, left-handed. Now I'm not lefty, but that's hard to find, especially when it's $140 brand new. And that's the deal here. And so
that's pretty cool.
Yeah, and there's all kinds of stuff like, Omega Speedmaster chronograph, mechanical watch, all these kind of things and by the way, we're not getting paid for this. This is just, I saw it and I couldn't believe it. There's a lot of really great things on here that are just super cheap. Like brand new Nikes for men, $30. And stuff like that. So, okay, I digress. We're going to move on, guys, because here's the thing. Will and his family are on a journey. They are driving. It's drive time. And I want to kind of, first of all, before we go, I want to say thank you to Will for coming on and sharing his knowledge. I tell you what, a lot of times I forget to thank him enough, just because I'm sitting here soaking all this information in, just like you guys are, and I'm trying my best to make sure that I answer or ask all the questions to get the most information out of each topic. And so I sometimes forget to plug that it's Will over at the Weekend Homestead channel. And please, if you're not already subscribed, open up a new tab right now. Go over to the Weekend Homestead. They got a super cool logo. And yes, I will openly admit it. I actually have lust after your Kubota tractor that you have up there. I think I'm in love with your tractor. But make sure
I appreciate that, Brad.
That tractor's banging, man. That's awesome.
So here's a little thing for everybody who's watching. Tomorrow, we have a very special video posting that I'll tell you a little history quick. You'll bear with me here. I know it's not technology and talk, but we're going to talk just a little bit about our channel. So a lot of video has been Cameron, who's seen right there, right behind his way, buddy, and right there, and myself doing a lot of different things, father, son stuff. And the missus said, hey, I want to start doing some cooking things. And I have some friends that have, these frugal cooking things and family cooking things. Like, how do you do things on a budget and so on and so forth? And tomorrow is the missus' first video that she's going to do. She did the whole thing. I just did a little bit of editing and everything else, but she put it all together. We shot all the stuff and everything like that. And it's her first full episode on the Weekend Homestead. And then at the end of it, I did a really fireworks shoot out on a beach just recently, and I hooked up the GoPro at the shooting station so you can see what it's like to stand at the bottom of the fireworks. I'm shooting it live right there. I did the finale, and I recorded it in high definition so you can see exactly what it's like. That be posted, so make sure if you subscribe, you'll get notification that that's coming up. But Mrs. First video and the fireworks special are both going to happen tomorrow.
Dude, that is so awesome. I'll be watching. I will definitely be watching. I mean, what's not to love when you get to blow stuff up? I mean, that's pretty stinking cool. I really want to try out some of that tannerite stuff that you can shoot with your rifles and stuff. but I'm scared that the cops will show up. So I haven't yet bought any. But when we get to where we're going, which is still a mystery, guys, we are going to tell you soon. Most likely Sunday we will reveal our location that we will be homesteading. And if we do, I assure you, I'll blow stuff up. Yes, I will blow stuff up.
Actually, Karen and I have extra pumpkins that were kind of damaged, and we donated all of our pumpkins last year to the foster home in town, and they had it. And, a couple of damage we could do anything with, so I put some tannerite inside of them, and we got them up and had a fun night. So tannerite is definitely a lot of fun.
Dude, thank you so much for coming on, guys. Don't forget, go over to the Weekend Homestead. Make sure you are subscribed, and next week we're going to have more goodies. And I think we're going to expand our palette. I think we're going to start talking about stuff that, is nerdy for everybody. So until then, thank you guys very much. And we will catch you later. The final words will take us out. 2 items. First one is, if I don't talk to you guys before the weekend, make sure you guys all have a great weekend and a safe 4th of July. And, make sure you enjoy it with your family and friends. It's what it's all about this summer. And the second item is, like I said, if you get a chance, if you subscribe to our channel, we do random live streams, maybe even 5 minutes from now, where when we go on the road, we'll give you a tour of the homestead and where we are and everything else. So definitely check us out online and check it out. But thanks for watching. This is all driven by you guys. The topics that we cover and everything else is items that you guys email to us, send us messages on. So this show is really produced by you guys. We just respond to what you guys want. So if there's something you want us to cover, let us know. Somebody, please, please, please send me an email saying that you want to cover Star Wars Legos or Star Wars Mindstorm, the robot stuff, because I so want to go buy some of that and use it as like a, quote, business expense of the channel. All right, can we talk about tractor parts then too? Because I'd really like a rotary tiller for the back of my tractor. Oh my gosh, dude. Oh my gosh. Oh, you know what? And guys, here's the thing. Last note. If you have a YouTube channel and your YouTube is on, homesteading and self-reliance, and you buy a tractor, that's a tax credit, kids. Don't forget that all of this stuff, if you're putting it in your videos, technically your video is a business. That's a tax credit. I don't care what it is, whether you bought copper to make a distiller, that's a tax credit. All of this stuff is a tax credit, so you can feel good about buying that tractor, or you can feel good about buying those Star Wars Legos. Don't forget that. Hold on a second, rolling around. Hey, Mrs. W, Brad said I can buy another part for the tractor. It's a tax thing. All right. It's true. All righty, kids. All the people at the gas station are looking at us. I'm going to sign off now, guys, and we're going to go on over, give Will a few minutes to switch over, but then on his channel, he's going to keep going live and chatting it up and in the drive, and I think it's going to be really great. He's in northern Minnesota, and it's beautiful. So you guys have a great night, and thank you so much for hanging out. We'll see y'all later next week. Bye.